I just transferred to a new area, and it was from an area that everything was going right. We had amazing investigators, and I was there for like 4 transfers, which is almost unheard of in our mission. You usually leave an area in 1 or 2 transfers. But after being in that area for so long, I transferred into a new area which had very little going on, and it had a reputation in the mission for being one of the hardest areas to baptize in, one of the hardest areas to find people to teach. And so it was kind of a big shock to me, but I always told myself beforehand, like, no matter what the call is, the Lord is sending you there for a purpose. And so I got to this area, and we were trying to do anything possible to get any investigators, because there was no investigators when I got there. There was no new people going to church and stuff like that. And so we were praying, like, I really want to continue all the momentum that I had in my previous area. What can I do to make this area better? How can I find people to teach? How can I find people to baptize? And then, like, the first P day there, we get a call from our branch president. He's like, there's actually an investigator that's moving from Spain to our area. And so the missionaries are a member is gonna take her in, because her mother-in-law was a member of the church, and so she called ahead to the ward so that they could have someone house her as she went to school and stuff like that. And so the branch president was basically like, congratulations, you guys got a new investigator. And so we started teaching her. She was an amazing girl from Cuba. She was one of the most faithful people I ever met, one of the most open people I met. But she was really opening to listen to the teachings of the church. She would come to church, and it was pretty cool because she only knew Spanish, we only knew Portuguese, and so she would speak to us in Spanish, we would speak to her in Portuguese, and it was those were pretty fun lessons, especially because my companion, he was a native speaker, so he understood Spanish pretty well, and I had to kind of get used to understanding Spanish from Portuguese, because it was about halfway through my mission, so I was pretty good at Portuguese, but it was kind of hard jumping to Spanish. But she eventually, like, became really good friends with the ward. She got baptized. She got a calling as the pianist in the branch, because the branch didn't have any pianist in there. She gave, before I left, she gave this amazing talk. Like, it was one of the most well prepared I've ever heard of any member, and she was a recent convert. She gave a talk about music in the church, because she was studying bassoon in the university there. But I was just amazed at how someone who was baptized just a month before had prepared this amazing talk with quotes from Joseph Smith, from Brigham Young, from all these old prophets. She had scriptures from the Book of Mormon, from the Bible. It was one of the best talks I've ever heard in Portugal, and it was done by someone who was just baptized 1 month before. And that was just amazing for me. But the biggest thing I learned from her story, from teaching her, is that the Lord is preparing in every area for you to find people to teach and to convert and to bring closer to Christ. Like, I came into that area expecting nothing to go right. It had the reputation of being one of the hardest areas. I knew that it was going to be one of the hardest things in my mission. And just the Lord provided someone that was kind of, like, I don't want to say she was easy to teach, but she was so accepting that she was one of the most amazing investigators and the most amazing members I've ever met in the mission. And it was all just because, like, the Lord prepared the way for her to come to that area at that time. And it just happened to be when I went to that area for the first time. And it was an amazing experience and a good memory from a mission.